Welcome back to the Artist Talk series. I'm Mike and I run the Spray Days YouTube channel. I hope everyone's had a great Christmas and New Year's. I know it's been really weird with everything that's going on in the world right now. So trying to restore a bit of normality. I've been working on some new artist talks to keep you guys going. So to kick things off, we've got a very special guest. This artist creates awesome stencil images of sanitation workers, sometimes cleaning the streets, but sometimes up to no good. I'm a huge fan and have loved seeing these little dudes all around the world. So I'd love to just get straight into it and introduce you guys to Jaune. How's it going, mate?
I'm good. I'm fine. All good. I'm just happy.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Again, thanks very much for giving us some time to chat to you. I'm really looking forward to hearing a bit about you and a little bit of history. So could you sort of tell us where and when it all began for yourself?
Well, there is 2 points. First one, I was studying graphic design in Brussels, and my roommates were we were sharing an apartment, and they were all graphers, taggers.
Cool.
And so I didn't really know about street art and graffiti, and so I discovered it at that moment. And at the same time, I was during the summer. I was working as a trashman in the city of Brussels, so dressed like one of my characters exactly. So that's where it come from. So I just mixed two things, like what I discovered about graffiti, street painting, and the fact that I was for the summer dressed like a fluo jacket guy, and I could live like that and see the city through the eyes of someone invisible, let's say.
Yeah.
So because they are like fully dressed in fluo, but no one sees them. So you kind of in the middle of something, and then you have
Sure. It's
freedom to
almost
play.
something that society ignores. I mean, like you say, as much as you're standing out in high vis, people sort of don't pay any attention to people picking litter up or bin men or
Exactly. It was like it's a bit yeah, it's a combination of a lot of different points, because while I was working as a trashman, I realized a lot of stuff about those guys, as I said, how they are invisible, but also how they are absolutely necessary for the surviving of our society, let's say. Because I was calculating how much trash I was collecting a day, and then I just calculate, like, okay, if one guy collects that much of trash, then you have that much of guy working, then you have 3 shifts, and then you have like 7 places where they make it. And so I was like, oh shit, if they stop working one day, we are all in trouble. So it was funny to have like someone so small in the society level, I will say, like
it's so
no one really
important.
dreamed to be trashmen,
Yeah.
and at the same point they were so important. So like it's kind of the whole, like, and also like the whole society deal with them, because you may be poor, you may be rich, you may be native from the place or coming from another place.
Yeah.
Everyone produced trash, and everyone in the world produced trash. So it was like kind of, okay, that's one link the whole society does have in common. So
Totally, man.
it was
Totally. I
kind of,
mean, I've always related because in my other job is I've run a scrapyard day to day, metal recycling. So I completely understand what you're saying. It's sort of like a necessary must, but people just almost take it for granted as if it's almost should happen, you know.
exactly.
And with your friends, were you going out painting graffiti, or were you just noticing what they were up to?
No, but so the two guys living with me were active graphers, taggers. I mean, they were writing the name in the city, making flops, making pieces, like a bit of everything. And so I discovered everything. And honestly, I wasn't like really attracted by the graphic shape of a graffiti. It's like lettering. I'm super bad with lettering, and freehand with the spray. I did not have any experience, but I was thinking like the fact of writing on a wall or painting on a wall, and like just taking a public space as a canvas was something remarkable. And so I decided to I discovered like all the street art movement, and like also Banksy
Yeah.
at that time.
Was
And I
that
was
through
like, wow,
books? Was that through
yeah,
books
the
or?
stencil was amazing to me. The technique I was okay, and it was quite close to a style of drawing I was making at that time. I mean, when you are bored in school, you have your pen with one color, and so I was drawing something really like
Simple.
light and shadow, you know, with and then you can. And so the stencil was something really close to some kind of imagery I really like. And so, yeah, I just decided to, at one point, starting making stencil because it was funny and an easy way to get a result without passing all the steps when you make total sheet and it's like, okay, no. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, that's how it started. I discovered this and the graffiti, and then also like all the possibility you had on the side, stencil, freehand, whatever, like stickers and yeah, stencil talked to me a lot at the beginning.
Totally. And with the stencil, were you using it in the studio or in your home first before you took it to the streets? Were you sort of
Yeah.
perfecting?
No, that was also the problem. I didn't have any experience, and so I was cutting it. I was living in a small apartment, not really made to paint inside, so I went directly outside by night. But it was like kind of adventure to make like 3 characters. It took me one night because I was totally like freak out and okay, I don't have to get touched, and because they were also telling me about. And I put like my first piece was just characters hanging out on someone else's tag. So it was like they were cleaning it, and so it was kind of not, let's say, I was seeing it like it could be seen as attack for this
Yeah.
guy. Like, okay, he's buffing me, and so what now? So, but my goal was, okay, I understand graffiti now. I see what it brings to the city, but I know also that a lot of people don't like it. Like, okay, I just get a big flop on my house, and I don't like it. So I was thinking, okay, if I put a small character, then okay, it starts to get playful, and then you can maybe accept it a little bit more, a
Yeah.
little bit easier. And so
Yeah.
that was the plan in my head in the beginning.
Definitely. And what was the perception? Was it Brussels where you grew up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really grew up in Brussels, but at that time I went to Brussels to study, so I was living there. I started living. I'm not coming from the pure city landscape, let's say. So also graffiti was quite new for me to see like all those streets fully tagged in my smallest village. It's not a village, but like yeah, it wasn't that much like attacked by graffiti. There was few of them. So yeah, I discovered everything in once, and it was yeah.
Yeah. And has Brussels had a big effect on your art? Like if you took that into.
Totally. If you see like step by step, it's like I don't make only the character, but quite quickly I came up also with the windows, doors, and a kind of background on which
Background,
I could
for
make them.
sure. Yeah.
And basically, if you see them, it's like it's really flat, and it's just like if you are watching the sidewalk on the other side of the street. And so you have that view with the building really flat, and you see them smaller. And so it's basically it's just I had the impression of walking in a corridor in
Yeah.
the city, yeah, with open sky, but it's like just long corridor with
Yeah.
building. You don't see far, and so it was just like okay, and it's totally you can apply it to stencil. It's easy to reproduce windows so that's basically step by step. Everything didn't came up at the beginning, but each time I had a problem, I could like easily resolve it with stencil, let's say.
Yeah, for sure. That is something I was going to ask you about. I noticed in a few more recent pieces, and that you've been working on the backgrounds. I saw a wicked piece in Porto, and it was like people were looking confused. They couldn't work out whether it was a piece or whether it was built into the steps or it was
Yeah.
wicked. And does the fact that the guys are totally interchangeable and like similar sizes, and does that come into handy that you can just use them in different situations, different cities?
Yeah, it's one of the first point I discovered with stencil because all started on like pizza boxes. My first stencil were made like just the character were a bit bigger, and so it's really a practical it's practical points that made my choose in my work. So like as I said, no, maybe I didn't say it yet, but I mean, it took me a really long time to cut the character. It was taking me like 2 days to make one at the beginning. After I was a bit faster, but still more I was evolving, more I was precise, and so more time it was taking to me. And so yeah, let's say it took me like 2 days to make my first character, and I was okay, I will not paint it just like one time. It doesn't make sense. So I spent so much time to paint it, like maybe, well, the first time it was in one night, but after I can paint one guy in like 10-20 minutes depending on the conditions. So it's just like, it doesn't make sense to use it one time. So if I make 3 characters, they are all the same size, but then after, okay, but that guy is that position, if I put another guy at that position just below, it could work. And then, so you have 3 characters, then you make a 4th, and you can already make like not only 2 stories, you can already play with them, like changing, because everything is the same scale.
100%.
And so when I started to make the buildings, the public bench, the trash bin, every element I was creating was on the same size. So now I can make walls like without limits, and they are all like changeable and connecting. That's one point. It's it's a whole universe. It's, to me, it's a bit like a dictionary. Yeah. So every stencil is a word, and then, because when you speak, you use a certain range of words. You have a list of vocabulary you use, and you accord them between them, make conjugation and stuff like that. And
what to say where.
I can flip them, I can combine them differently, change the color, and then in the end, with like, I don't know, with 50 character, I can make
a huge mural
of stories different each time, and each new character I put on my dictionary, it's like, I don't know how many new stories I can make with him. So,
and did they become really precious, your stencils, because you've spent so much time cutting them and everything? Do you sort of, have you ever lost any, or have ever any gone missing, or?
Few of them, and I broke few of them because I was taking a bit care of them, and I use also plastic to. It was PVC sheets, like transparent.
Yeah.
Really, it's really cheap, and you can find them in big, and so that's why also they were quite big, my character, and now you see they are smaller, just because now it fits in a A3 paper, because you could buy the A3 paper transparent plastic sheets for 100, and then so it's just practical point that make me, okay, I will adapt them. And
I was going to ask about that, because I saw some of your really early work, like some of the pieces were bigger on the side of like a car, and they still had the same theme, but they were much bigger. And I didn't know whether that was the development of your choice, or obviously it's for practical reasons.
Are you speaking about which pieces are you speaking about? The big
was
one?
Was it a girl in high vis? Was it in Indonesia maybe?
Oh yeah. I've made few work in really high size. Just because at that moment I didn't have really a lot of stencil yet.
Right,
was still
okay.
Then it was my first travel outside of Belgium, almost with my work, and I went directly in Indonesia, and I was okay. I'm coming with my Brussels type of characters, like, would it fit over there? And it wasn't. You don't have fluo guys there working. They have fluo jacket also, but they don't use it the same way. They are like all with short pants and flip flops, and it's different. And
different style.
So I spent like 1 month there just to understand where I was, and then so that's a really particular job I did at that time. And few time I make it that way, but now it's just because at that moment I didn't have the right stencil that I would have used. But now I'm more, I have so much stencil, and I can produce them easier than basically I can think a bit before and adapt. And I found the freedom someone can have with a brush. I have it with my stencil because I can always adapt myself and okay, this one could be here, and so I don't plan. I have all my stencil with me, and then and so I have always like almost 100 characters with me to use in the end, like 3, just because I need to have the right one in the right moment.
And do you find yourself tweaking them on site, like making small adjustments, or afterwards hand painting certain parts?
Really, they are so small, and I have so much that there is always something that fits, because I have a lot that are like climbing or jumping, or then I can easily play on some few stuff, and then if you have a crack, I know I can use those type, and so basically now I know them, and then I just like place it in front, and yeah, no, not this one. And then I
It's
try,
not.
and it's a bit how I work. And
Yeah.
it's a bit like, to me, it's they have almost the size of Action Man or Barbie doll. And so
Like
if
making
you take an
see.
Action Man and you can like fold his legs and you see where you can sit it in the street, you will see
Yeah.
that there is a lot of place where you can actually make something funny. So it's a bit the same idea.
That's awesome, man. And how do you come up with, like, could you talk us through the process of actually cutting a stencil? Like, where do you start? Where does the image come from? Who are the characters that you are using?
So basically, and in the beginning, all my characters are based on photographs. So all the models I have are real people. At the beginning, there was just me because I was always available for me. So I was like taking my pose, and then after I was printing it at the size I wanted, and then I put my layers on it each time, and I cut first the outline, and then each color by color. And now it's a bit different because I'm laser cutting the stencils.
Oh, right, cool.
Because yeah, it was taking me like 1 day and a half, 2 days to make one character. So imagine if I want to make a fight of between 30 guys, you have 1 month of cutting, then you're already tired when you painted it, and you had already 50 more ID meanwhile you were cutting that you will forget. And so it was taking too slow, and yeah, I wasn't enough productive, let's say. So now and in the end, I had like fun for years making my stencil by hand, but at one point, yeah, stencil is just a tool.
Yeah.
So I needed to go faster because what I was saying was more important than how I was saying it. You see
Right.
what I mean? So
For
that's a bit the idea of behind the stuff. And I had one big job that made me switch to laser cut. It means that now I'm still drawing the stencil by hand, but
sure.
my cutter, it's now a digital pen, and I'm drawing on the screen, and then I make them cut, and so it allowed me to go faster, be more precise. And yeah, my stencil like quite like technologic now, and it's funny also to play
Yeah.
with the technology, because to me, I feel it a bit like a baker guy
Okay.
making bread. It's
Okay.
just like it's not because now he's making his how you call it, flour,
Flower.
the
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
flour. Yeah. It's not because he's using a machine to smash the wheat and then to mix. And his bread is still the same. Yeah, it just like make it easier to him, but his receipt didn't change. And for me, it's a bit the same. It's okay. I make it for a year, and I understand what's make a good stencil and what I need to use, and
Yeah.
then it's still the same, but 2.0.
Right. Yeah. It's just evolving. You're working with
Yeah,
the technology that's available these days, which is great.
yeah, it allowed me to go way further than I was believing, because when I started, I didn't believe I could make a living of it, and
Right.
now it's done. So I can just like fully focus on my stencil. And so that's why now it start to getting faster and faster, because like the ideas, yeah, it's without limits. I can
You
just
can
like,
create so quickly. It's great.
yeah, yeah, that's the point.
And how many layers are usually used in your piece? How many sort of layers of?
um my character, let's say general character, which will have between 4 and 6 layers, I mean sheets of layers, but
Yeah.
on one layer I can put like up to 4 colors.
Oh, right.
So my characters are like 4 or 6 layers, but it's more 7, 12, between 7 and 12 colors,
Right.
because it
Okay.
works a bit like a silk string. But it just like let's say on this one, I can make like the fluoro stripe with the shoes on
Yeah.
the same and the glove, because they are far enough to not paint them at the same moment.
Good.
So
So you're making use of the each layer as much as you can.
yeah, I'm just like bombering all the colors I can. And if I need just sometimes, well, you don't see it on those one, but sometimes you just have the white point of the eyes and it's just one layer, because yeah, it was all remaining and I couldn't put more on. So it's, yeah, what's need to be done have to be done.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And you mentioned before about never thinking that art might become your career or be able to make a living out of it. What point did you sort of recognize that that was happening and that you were sort of okay to quit your day job?
Um, it came by step by step. So the first step was painting in the street, but it was so difficult to me because I wasn't prepared for it, and it took me like, then I was without experience, you know. And so I made like 4 stencil in the street, and then I quit for 3 years, busy with other stuff. I was still studying, so it was not really in my mind. But I wanted to continue painting some walls, and then yeah, 3 years later, I had I was working for another artist as an assistant, and he put me on he knew I was making some stencils, and then I showed him the pictures, and he said, okay, yeah, I saw it at that time when it was in the street, and it's really good. So someone asked me to organize a exhibition, like pop-up exhibition. So it's in 2 weeks. I give you 2 weeks to make it. And so I said, okay. Then I restart to making stencil, and I produced like 4 pieces, and I showed them at the exhibition, and I sold them everything. Like
Nice.
in me, it was just like, oh wow, man! I just had 2 weeks of fun, and I made money, and it was quite cheap at that moment. But for me, it was like already okay. Yeah, it's good. And so I started slowly like that. So I was thinking, okay, it's possible. Then that was the first step. And for a few years, I was like working on the side, different job, and making, so not really earning money from my work.
No.
Yeah, slowly I get invited on festivals, and first in Benelux, like Belgium, Luxembourg, and Holland. And yeah, I remember one of my first real festival in Luxembourg. I was invited. There were a lot of people, like all the weird crew from
Nice.
Germany. Like there was Naicho, Frau Isa, the Lowbrows, like the whole crew was there.
Awesome.
The London police were there. Jeff Soto was there.
Sick.
And I remember, yeah, I get friend with the London police at that time, and I didn't knew anything about the street art field, let's say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we just come back from Hong Kong, and now we are here for 1 week, and then next week we go to Brazil, and we are excited because it's the first time we go there. Then we go back to Amsterdam for 1 week to work there, and then we go to New York. And I was like, wow, shit, I want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, slowly I get like more visible. People start to invite me, and I realize at one point, like, okay, I just been to Norway, to UK, to France, to Switzerland, and I started to count, and okay, yeah, and then US, and at that moment, yeah, I understood that it was possible, and I was actually making it, and it was just step by step, and that's a bit.
And was there a point where you just started had to really ramping up creating work? Was there a demand developing for your work, and you sort of had to keep up with it at all?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't really get the.
When you started painting more and started painting more festivals and stuff, did you notice that there became a demand for your work? Like, did you start selling more and more pieces? And was there a point where you almost couldn't keep up with creating the pieces, or?
It took me a time to make really a living of it. Like for 4 years, I was working without making a living, but already getting in touch, and my work was starting to. And then at one point, I had because I was working in Belgium with a guy organizing festivals, but also commission work for factories or societies or whatever. Yeah. And he had client, and he was putting them in contact with the artist, because okay, you want to make that, and I have the good artist to use. So basically, it was I was working with that guy, and he put me on a big job, and that's it's at that moment I started to make digital laser cutting, because like he bring me to that place to meet the client, the potential client, because it was like 1,400 square meters to paint, like wow. Corridor, like 70 meters long, 3 meters 50 high, like super huge. And at that moment, I was like, okay, it's 4 years. I'm cutting my stencil by hand.
These little
And
dudes.
all I've done in 4 years, yeah, small stuff. And all I've done in 4 years, I'm not able to feel like even 1/4 of what you. But I tell them like, yeah, I can do it, but I need to pass like digital, so it means you have to pay for a laser cut, and so and they told me like, okay, yeah, you have 4 months to prepare, and you can only paint during 2 months during the summer, because that's the moment we don't have any workers on site and stuff. So I was okay, then it's really tough. I said, yeah, no worries. And so it have been the 6 month more heavier of my life.
Yeah.
And I had assistant at that moment, but I had to produce like in 4 months I produced 10 times more stencil that I did in 4 years.
Wow.
So it was just like, okay,
Go.
yeah. And then this made me the base of my database of stencil, let's say my library of stencils. That's a bit the idea.
Yeah.
But also at that time, I switched from amateur. I don't know how you would say it, like non-professional guy
An
to
amateur,
professional,
yeah.
because I had, as it was a huge job, and I had to make invoice and stuff, so I had to
Make a
be
company,
independent
be
worker, so getting
official.
my tax number,
Yeah.
and so at that moment I wasn't only playing, but okay, it started now. Every 3 months I have to pay shit lot of taxes, and when I make money, I cannot only keep it for me, I have to pay it for so
Get your
basically
receipts, keep your
I
receipts.
grew up at that moment, let's say, and so yeah, it just like put some paper, and okay, I have to produce if I want to live, and then make choices. No time more to work on the side, and just like, okay, I can. And so yeah, slowly it took step by step, and then
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And we spoke about the traveling there. I mean, how much of your year do you spend away from home traveling, painting?
uh,
Usually, obviously not the last year with everything that's been
yeah,
going on.
exactly. But usually I was almost gone 6 months of the year, let's say,
Wow.
by small. And the last years were like getting more and more. Like at one point, I was finding myself, like I said, with the London police. Like, okay, I go 1 week in Rotterdam. From Rotterdam, I go directly to Denver. From Denver, I go to Italy. To Italy, I go to Spain, and then I come back home. And
And
then 2 weeks
is that just
later, I go
meeting?
to
Is that just
Amsterdam.
meeting new people along the way and new opportunities arising?
Yeah, and yeah, it was just getting crazy. So no time more to yeah to slow down, and that's why I decided at one point to move out from Brussels and go in a small village where there is only one pub, and that's it, and just like slow down everything I could in my life and focus on that. And so basically, yeah. But now, yeah, with the last year, with the 2020 virus stuff, it slowed it down. But it was just super perfect for me, the perfect timing, because I met my wife 2 years ago, and we get married 1 year ago during the pandemic.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. But she's coming from Colombia, so it has been a good time for. She come with her daughter, which is 12-year-old. So it's like if the world decided, okay, we give you 8 free months to just like adapt yourself. So I could like really
Be better.
relax because she's painter also. She does this work, and
Wow.
then yeah, we are building a studio together. So we just had that moment like a bubble of oxygen, and now we are boosted and ready to start again. So
Yeah.
that was a good point. But obviously, like my rhythm will probably a bit change with the with the travel, because I have responsibilities for a child and things. So I'm still taking care of them. It's not their country still, so they still discover it. So I mean, all of this to say, yeah, I slow a bit down because I had a lot of fun traveling a lot, but it's also like really heavy, because it's not only that I'm going to a place with my brush. I have always a suitcase of 50 kilos with full of stencils. Each time finding something new to do with those same stencils. So I didn't have time to produce new more, and I have a lot of idea I want. So it's kind of okay. I enjoy traveling a lot, and now I enjoy a little bit more of studio time, and I
Chill.
will combine them together now and find a balance.
We were talking about traveling all over the place. Are there any favorite cities that stick out initially to you that you remember for any reasons?
A lot for a different reason each time because well, lately I would say Bogota in Colombia, where I met my wife when
Of
we were
course.
painting. So
Nice.
because it remained, and it was also my first time in South America. So it's definitely one special place I keep in mind. After almost everywhere, I had super incredible experience with local people, and I make friend or not. And US, my first time in US was quite crazy. It was in Miami
Right.
for Art Basel, and I
Oh,
was invited
nice.
to paint for a Juxtaposed Clubhouse. So I was like bombarded in the holy center of street art at that moment, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
crazy first experience in the US with like all the light around and
Wow.
playing that. So yeah,
Crazy
it was,
place.
and but mostly it's yeah that month I told you before where I was going from one place to the other was really interesting because I was each time going from one place really far to another, but also from one kind of place like US was a big festival with a lot of people, a lot of budget. And then right after that, I was in Zaragoza in Spain, where it was more in a neighborhood with a lot of gypsy people. And so it was coming
Big
from like
contrast.
kind of US party to kind something really social with during that festival in Spain every at noon to eat we had to go to where how you call it those house where old people go to live their all days. Um, so we were going to eat with old people from the neighborhood,
Oh,
each time separated on different table, like two artists with like eight old Spanish people without
wow.
speaking Spanish, and so kind of experience really interesting. And then after that, I went to Gaeta in Italy, painting next to Roman ruins, like remains of Roman temples and shit. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's just like,
Crazy.
and the only line you have, it's your work. So it's kind of crazy. And then you focus on your work and you find back your stability, let's say, or it's you home again.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, you home again because you make your work.
And
You are
then
just in the bubble. So it kind of those experience. But almost every festival travel was something unique because each time it's really personal. People speak to you about why they invite you or where you are, what's the history of the place. So each time it's
totally different experience in every
yeah.
place.
And yeah, and so I enjoyed a lot of different travel for really different points.
Yeah.
Really,
And did you notice sort of a demand for your work like by different mural festivals because it's such a different thing? It's using almost a different space. It's not a big wall. It's not
yeah,
taking
yeah.
up the
Well, I
side of
can
the
make big
building.
walls, but it's always difficult to make big walls for me because it's a lot of time and a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
small
But
points.
just
And
the
in
way
the
you
end,
can dizzle them around and pop them in different areas where they
yeah,
sort
yeah,
of put
that's,
people cutting in onto that
yeah,
and going, let's get him in because it's something totally new. Or
yeah. It's we are not a lot of people making that. That's so here in Europe. We all always cross the same guys. Like sometimes they invite us all time
oh,
the small
dude, yeah,
it was in Lancaster in California. We had that moment really crazy because we were invited at the same moment to a festival. It was so I was there. There was Isaac Cordal from
yeah,
Spain with this
yeah.
small concrete
Small
character that
dudes,
we knew from a long time, so we are really good friend. Slinkachu
dude,
from UK with his even tinier, and
super mini.
Spencer Little, which is
The
also from
wire, the wire
with the
stuff.
wire. So it's all kind of we all make the same work, small intervention, but totally different. So we were like four in the kind of cart, a golf cart, like driving the city, yay, making our. So it's really funny. So
But
we are not a lot of making this, and so we kind of balance with the large scale murals. We bring something totally different. Like large scale mural, you see it, it's really big, massive, and you can see it from far. And our stuff, you have to like all the small street and pay attention.
It's almost
And
more
so
intimate. You have to be very involved to even see the piece to start.
yeah, exactly. So you have to watch, and once you watch one and you say okay, and then you start watching and you see other, and so yeah, it brings a different game in a different aspect, and that's what I really like in my work. It's the possibility to like when you go on a festival, like when when artists go on a festival making large scale mural, they have like 1 week, 1 week and a half to make you, and so it's always like okay, and if it's raining, windy, or it can be held
they're up
quick.
against it. They're
I'm
up
just
against
invited
it.
to make me like okay, they drop me in the city with my shit. You need someone to carry your stuff, okay, and then you have someone just helping you, and then I make like 2 or 3 painting a day, and I'm really chill out. In the end of the week, I have like 12, 15 intervention made, and I met a lot of people. Like I was painting on a house, and then okay, come to take a coffee in
All
the
the
house, and
different
we have a chat.
spots.
And then after I paint on the house of the neighbor, so it's because when you are on a lift, you are up the street. It's a moment of bubble oxygen. You see the street differently, but I'm like right on the ground, and people come to speak to me. It can be homeless people, the owner of the car, the house. Sometimes it's police who stop and have a chat, and then it's funny because in the end I meet a lot of people and that's why it's always so interesting, because I'm not like on my lift and painting alone. I'm like with all the people of the city painting, and then that's why I met so many friends during the years. And each city where I paint in, I have a friend that like offer me some stuff when I was there, like okay, I bring you some beers, and we have a night together and chatting, and he introduced me to his friend, and it's always kind of funny situation.
It's really cool how it always happens. Seems to be that way. I mean, has it ever gone the other way? And have you ever got yourself into any trouble painting out in the streets?
Few times, not a lot, because I'm not that much a vandal guy.
Totally.
No, because I'm carrying always like, as I told you, like a shitload of material, so I can't run away basically. And it happened to me once, and I said, okay, I don't want to leave that. I was in Amsterdam. It was for my maybe for my first solo show, or my second, I don't remember. But I was I just had to Amsterdam with all my stuff. It was like 8 in the night, 9 in the night. And they told me like, yeah, that would be nice if you could hit the neighborhood just like that. You are making a little teaser of your show.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, you think, because it was kind of fancy neighborhood, so without a lot of tags. And he said, yeah, no worries, your stuff are cool, people are gonna like it, and okay. And so, like, really naive, I went to the street with all my shit, like with my suitcase, with all my material, like 2 suitcases, another bag hanging, a backpack, like everything. And so I start making my stuff on the black door. And there was a guy at the phone in his car, and he saw me. So he just like finished his stuff. And then, yeah, I know the owner of that place. You can't do that. And what are you doing? And I said, yeah, okay, sorry, I won't stop. He said, no, I won't let you go. I will call the police. And okay, shit. And so I start running away, but with my stuff. And he told me at the phone, yeah, I'm still seeing it. It's just like that way. But, and so I just like walk the block around and get back to the gallery. And at that moment, like 3 car of cops coming and shit. And so, yeah, what you did. And hopefully I just had the time to make the first layer of my character, which is the black layer, the whole shape of the character. And it was on a black door. So I said, I paint a black silhouette on the black door. Yeah. They said, okay, we're gonna see. And so they went there, but they couldn't find anything. So okay, yeah, you can't make it. So, I mean, in the end, nothing happened, but yeah, it wasn't pleasant. So yeah, few times it happened, those kind of situation. And usually when I'm in trouble, because I start painting where I shouldn't in a festival, like I paint something and on the side it's interesting too, and then I make it, but it's over and it doesn't want. And then he come back, he call the cops, and cops come and they are just like, yeah, sorry, you can't make it. And then they tell me like off the situation, yeah, we know him, he's a bit of a fucker, but I mean, we like your job, but that's it, we can't make everyone happy, so have a good day. And so basically, yeah, I try to not put me in trouble, because it's, I don't like to be in trouble. Who like it? But I mean, yeah, adrenaline and thing doesn't make part of my work. I like to sit down, take my time, speak with people, and so usually that's why I quite quickly make it really fully legal. And after, it depends on the place. Like here in Belgium, they are quite strict. You need authorization to make some stuff. But like, for example, more south in, for example, Portugal, they always have the streets, and behind you have the like the counter streets, like small
The
street behind
alleyways.
where they put the
Yeah.
trash, and like it's fully tagged and no one cares, and so you just walk there and you paint. You have countries where they have more culture of mural painting, and they don't. It's not a crime. No
No,
one died, and
there's no
by
permission. They
luck
just
you
do
can
it.
find a good artist making it. So it will really depend on place, but I'm not a lot of time in trouble.
No.
In the beginning, yes, a bit more, but now it's more like, okay, you don't want me, just I will find another spot and someone who wants my work done on his house.
And do you think that's overall? I mean, for most artists now, most street artists, do you think it's becoming much more acceptable and sort of wanted in communities?
I guess, well, also people are making like huge pieces. So a lot of people are making huge pieces. So it needs other needs, let's say, other like a lift. And so,
Permission and
but also the city themselves start, that's my point of view, but that they start to understand a bit more like the benefits you can have having street art, because they use decades fighting against graffiti, and it's like a Don Quixote, it's fighting against the
yeah,
windmill. Yeah, it's like it will come back all the time. It's just like
it's a big cycle.
yeah, and then but at the opposite, if you say, okay, paint there, and then usually when I'm painting, they will pop a lot of graffiti around, but no one will touch my piece. And as I said in the beginning, for someone who doesn't really like graffiti, the fact you have something you can understand in the middle of all that stuff, start to making a frame in the end, and okay, yeah, it doesn't bother me that much. If you understand what you have in front of you, it's easier. When you can't read what it's written, yeah, it's just ugly. But if you have one character with a brush, like if he was busy writing it, then you say, okay, it's more acceptable. I understand it a bit more. And so it's a bit the same idea. Now cities are understanding that it brings a lot of tourism. Like economically, it's good because a lot of people will travel to the place and make, like, buy sandwich, coffee, stuff around, shopping.
Totally.
There is that. They will have less problem with graffiti, so less spending on that. So it's, yeah, I think it start to evolve in a good way.
And I mean,
Also, that a lot of, yeah.
So that's just generally speaking. What more so for yourself? Do you hope that your street art would have an effect on the streets? I mean, do you hope that it impacts people's day, or is it just something for fun?
To be a bit romantic about the question, to me, I don't have any expectation of it, because I take so much fun making it, and it's also kind of how you can say it, like expose some bad energy, like
A release.
I'm speaking about bad stuff. Basically, they are always fighting, drinking, putting a mess, and it's kind of, I'm releasing my bad stuff through my work with humor, and so it's a kind of a personal therapy, let's say.
Yes.
On one side, and on the other side, I can't expect anything from the people to understand my work. I mean, they a lot of time people come to me and tell me, okay, I see that in your work and the meaning is that to me. And sometimes it's totally at the opposite side of what I was thinking when I made it, but it's also true, because they tell me, I see that, and yeah, you see that, and you can understand it that way, so it's not wrong.
Totally.
And there is no right way to see it. So
Sure.
so a lot of freedom to people, and what I'm happy, it's that it put a smile on the face of people. They tell me it's nice and I like it, and I change my way to the work every day, just because I know if I make 2 minutes more walking, I can cross your characters, and it's make me smile in the beginning of the day. And I'm happy just put a smile on someone. After some see it like with the strong message and make them think about people, or they start to say hello to the trashmen now when they see them in the street
Right.
because they think of my work. So there is a lot of side effect of my work that I cannot control, and I'm happy that that's happened. It's never something negative, and so yeah, that's a bit what I expect from my work. It's that no one hate it, and then anyone, if it can help some people to have some ideas, some more imagination, more respect for some people, some small jobs, some better.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that's a bit.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. And another thing was, how can people find your work if they were looking to get a piece from yourself, or do you have a website, or is it just contacting you via
I have
Instagram?
a website. They can write me on my website, and I don't update it a lot, so it's still pictures since years, and but it's decent. I mean, but the more recent work are not on it. And if not, I'm more active with social media, especially Instagram. So yeah, people contact me through those way, and then after I have few work in galleries also, so people working for me selling my work. But yeah, basically it's direct or yeah, with the
Did you
social
notice
media.
that, is that a big part of selling your art, Instagram and social media? Is that a big helping hand?
Lately, yes. Hopefully, those last years I was more busy. Each year I had like one or two massive job that could be enough to pay like almost the my full year, because I'm not like a big consumer of stuff. I don't spend a lot of money with. I don't get interest in clothes or cars or expensive stuff. I'm just
Simple life.
like drink beers.
Easily
So
pleased. Yeah.
no, but and then so I could make a living easy without spending too much, and it was enough. Now it's a bit different because I'm not alone anymore. We are three, and then but yeah, stuff are growing. So I was mainly working with big jobs, and now I start also selling direct, like those. I made a series of it, and like I make punctual small jobs that because I was also not really interested in making. Well, I made few shows, but I did not sell all time really good the pieces, because I'm more focused on having fun. And sometimes it's something like, yeah, I like it, but I will not see it in my
For sure.
living room because
Yeah.
it's too huge or a bit massive. And so I'm more like thinking, okay, people like more those kind of small pieces, and it's important to pay the bills and the rent and stuff. And so I'm finding my balance between big jobs and also small jobs affordable for a lot of people, because you have, like in art market, let's say, I don't know if you call it
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, but you you have like everything. You have like
Level to it.
big money
Level.
guys that will buy it to sell it later, and they are betting on you that you will be
Resale.
a bankable guy. And
Yeah.
then you have other that have no more than like 100 200 euros available, and but they really like your work, and so that's why you have prints and stuff. Yeah, and you feel that it's an effect of people. They just like, oh man, it's like since years I want to have a piece from you, and it's cool to be able to like please those people also. So and it's finding a right balance between all of these. And so yeah, now with Instagram I'm a bit like, it's a more studio time and studio year. I was more busy like thinking about more those kind of work I wanted to make since a moment. So yeah, it's a bit going.
Up and down.
It depends a bit. It's
Do-
also like a free independent worker. We are like just
It's
on the sometimes it's down of the wave, sometimes it's up. And
yeah.
it's also what's funny, because also with my work I never bored, because I can make large scale murals, small one, working for a festival, museum, a
Different
gallery,
situation every time.
people,
Yeah.
for association, whatever. So everything is different, and it goes so fast. I mean, in 1 year it can happen so many stuff that in
You
the
can't
end
keep
I
up.
cannot really make yeah, my work is more based on this. It's changed all the time, and depending on my ideas and the opportunities also, it's kind of, I still don't really understand how it's possible that I'm making a living of it in a way. Because I still don't understand why sometimes I sell a lot, and sometimes I'm not, and because it's always the same kind of work, and so I mean, so
Makes no sense.
yeah, I'm just making my way through the dealing with what happened.
Definitely,
I don't.
definitely,
And then,
definitely. And we were talking before about meeting other artists and stuff. Is there anybody that you'd really like to collaborate with? I mean, I've seen some wicked collaborations with like Spencer Little with the skateboard wire and
yeah,
Pears. I mean, you've done so many. Is there anybody that you like, I'd really want to do that and haven't had the chance yet?
well, I've made so many already collaboration because it's easy to. Some were really fun, like with the Pichi Avo was really fun because they make their large scale walls full of graffiti, and I could like just drop 3 character in that, and I was just happy. It's a small detail lost in the stuff, so kind of collaboration really cool. Um, I'd like to see my work on the work of Cinta Vidal from Spain, which
Right?
make
Yeah,
the house like Escher kind
yeah,
3D.
yeah, yeah,
I would
yeah.
like fun making these. Um, yeah, basically each time I meet a new artist, I think about collaboration, and some happen. Some are not are not really like I don't really see my work with the work of Telmo and Neil.
No,
Even if I really
you're
like
a
those guys.
fan. Yeah,
They are friends, but I mean, yeah, I
has
don't.
to work. There has to be some
How
sort
I
of connection.
could work with them. Um, I've already made some few collaboration with Fuel from Portugal, which make
Yeah,
also stages,
for sure.
and
The
we
tiles.
crossed in several different points, and we already made those collaboration. But we have so many ideas because our technique is super close, super like the shadows are the same. The I mean, and so yeah, it's
It
I
works.
would make more work with him, and then after it just like more the feelings. A lot of people I'm friend with them, and it would be so easy to make stuff together. And so
That's
basically, I don't have special lot of. I can imagine with everyone.
everyone. Yeah, that's a good answer.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's really fun.
That's a good answer, man. And who are some of the artists that you're just a fan of? Not that you want to collaborate, but you think people should be aware of and checking out for their work.
Oh, mostly they are friends.
Can see
Isaac
some bust
Cordal.
in the back, a
Isaac
bit of,
Cordal. Sorry.
can see some bust in the background.
Yeah, Bost is a really good friend, and we already made some few pieces together. And yeah, he's definitely one of the guy I really appreciate, and I appreciate his work a lot. So as I said, Isaac Cordal to me has a great job, and we are kind of same. Yeah, well, the London police also they have an amazing, and also just because the guys are so
Nice.
sweet
Yeah.
and to think just their work. I see that the guys also. Yeah, they now
They bring you good energy.
yeah that basically I'm amazed by a lot of artists just because they make something I can't make, and then it amazed me. It's just like wow, that's so
Captured you.
cool.
That's
And
cool.
so yeah, I think it's Nuno
Yeah.
Vegas. You have
Yeah. Yeah.
behind
Snick and
you.
Nuno.
Work
Yeah.
also. It's just
Mind blowing.
yeah. You have a lot of. I can't tell you which one. I mean, everyone has his own
Flavor.
why you like it. It's
Yeah.
just like Panakapan. When I discovered his work, was just like oh, crazy. Um, yeah, there are many people just like
Oh,
all
yeah, me
everyone.
too, man. I'm a fan of it all. It could be something so simple and two-dimensional, or it could be something mental realism. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it captures you for their own reasons. I mean, that's why I love street art, I guess.
You can find everything.
Yeah,
Everything is just
something for everyone. And I mean,
yeah.
and coming to the end of everything, I mean, have you got any advice for street artists? I know you said then about people just having a great attitude, and have you got any certain advice you could give to somebody looking to get into street art?
I would have. I guess I would have two advice. The first one is to the one who just want to go inside the street art without any expectation, let's say, not making a living of it, or just like having fun. And I think the most important is having fun. It's just like not making stuff because you are good at making it, but because you are
Enjoying it.
yeah, you enjoy making it, because you can, I think you can be good making some stuff, but if you are not really enjoying it, you will feel it first, and then other people will feel it through your work. If you don't take pleasure making it, at one point you can feel it. And
Becomes a
so
job,
the most
and then
important is
people can
don't
tell.
make not make it to get famous or to make it nice, just because you like to make it. That would be my first advice. And then after, if you want the second one, if you want to make a living of it, or like be someone in the street art world, then get inspired, but find your own way, because that's something I had also quite at the beginning. It's like I discovered stencil through like Banksy for the first, because it was the when you start write street
Everywhere.
art, it's the first one you will find. It's Banksy, and then with the stencil, I mean.
Yeah.
And then at one point you realize quickly that okay, he already did something like that, and he did it better than me. So why should I just like, even if I take pleasure to make it, but so then find your own way, take your inspiration and understand how it works, and then just like try to fit where nobody even didn't put a step yet, because it's a kind of, it's not like the world where it has limit. The imagination have no limit, and so, and even
Anything's
more now
possible.
with the technique and all the documentation you can find, you can, well, after it's a matter of ideas. And so that would be, I think, the second advice.
Definitely. No, that's awesome advice. I think that's great. I think they're great points to make. And as well, have you got anything coming up that people should be looking out for? Any sort of gallery shows? Or I know it's a bit weird at the moment, but
I don't have a gallery show planned for the moment, because I took my time. I finished last year a really big job, and I could rest a bit, and then came the pandemic moment. So in the end, I didn't plan a lot, and I took it to breathe a bit. And maybe you saw my last work, which was machinery, and so I'm yeah. And finally now I'm starting creating new background, because I was like playing for years with the same stencil, and enjoying the fact that okay, I didn't make that combination, and now
yeah,
that combination, and now that combination. So I just like enjoyed flipping them in all the direction and making new stories with the same element. But I have like ideas I keep in backup since ages. Like those machines, it's the same job, same process,
theory.
like combining them and then repeating and then
Switching them,
repeating.
mix and
And
matching.
so I can make a world of machine and kind of a big raffinery, gas tank shit, and I don't know what. So it's
Opened
I
a
just
new world.
I just like turn the key in a new door. So I will open it now, and it will be crazy. And I'm just like unlocking, and I have like 3 other doors like that just next to it. So it means that I still need to draw everything, to cut everything, to create. It's a long process, so it will not be in the 2 next weeks. But yeah, definitely it's gonna take a big kick now. And yeah, I think just nothing people have to expect especially, but just like wait and see, and stuff will happen for sure.
Right.
And unlocking some new propositions, some new, and yeah, a bit switching, as it's less festivals and travel for the moment. It's more like commission work for the moment,
Totally.
which is interesting, because it's another let's say another gymnastic, it's kind of other brain work. And so
Opens new challenges, and then you can use that elsewhere.
yeah,
That's
so
awesome. That's awesome, mate.
yeah, I'm busy right now. I've my brain, since like
Non-stop.
I had a lot of like this pandemic moment was really like enjoying making everyone feel comfortable in a new country, new culture.
Now
And
you just want to get out. Yeah.
I'm boosted a lot, and yeah, I'm gonna
Oh man, I can't wait to see what you come up with, man, to be honest. And I mean, fingers crossed, everything sort of, we get over this in the next few months and we can all sort of start traveling and seeing each other and getting back to a bit of normality. Um, I hope. I mean, I say that very hopefully. But with all that said, mate, I mean, it's been awesome chatting to you. And I don't want to keep you any longer. I mean, it's been great. We've heard some great stories. And yeah, I'm going to put links to everything that we've talked about in the description below. So to find your Instagram, to find anything of that sort. And yeah, keep your eyes peeled for big things coming in the future. So thanks very much, Jan. Speak to you later, mate. Take care.